Just getting things set up. I should probably get some water. Let me know if the font and stuff is big enough. And if the, let's see, hopefully the background music isn't too loud. Let me know if it is. Hey Venator, is the background music good? Hey Lovey. It's not too loud, not too soft. Can you hear it? That'd be the first question. Shit. What about my mic? First is voice, and then I can increase the volume. Voice is fine. All right, so let me increase the background music. So I increased the background music, but now I don't want the background music to be too loud. You're too quiet. Sound settings. Everything's terrible. Input level. Increase. Can I increase the input level? How about there? Hopefully that's better. All right, and I've got my gain all the way up on my mic. I don't know why. Cuz I've got the audio set. All right, cool. Let me know if it gets crappy. 150% is rather loud. Technology, it's always so complicated. Everything's complicated all the time. All right. Posting on the medias and all the places, and then we'll get started. How y'all doing? Anything new in your worlds? What game dev stuff have y'all been working on? No boring apps. I don't want to hear about like line of business application development. Only fun stuff. The number of things I have to like, and the thing is, I can't even verify that it sounds good because I get a feedback loop. So if I have the audio playing and my sound output is the speakers, my mic picks it up, and it's just everything's terrible. All right, I posted on all the medias. Hopefully the sound's working. I'm glad you're liking the engine. I think you mentioned that you had quite a bit of experience with like Unity or Godot, some of the other engines. But your layout stuff looks good. It looks really good. Levy, build a game. Build a game. All right, so what I want to work on is gotcha. Yeah, Godot is it's cool. I'm glad that they've started to find success. Well deserved. Okay. I can say more critical things about Godot, but I think it's a great hobby engine. I really do. All right, so minerals are collecting on the probe. The issue is, what is my streaming source? Okay, it's good. The issue is that right now the particles that are being set on the minerals or on each one of these probes is independent, right? So if I go to my harvester, this might be a little bit too big for me as far as font size. Let me know if this is too small. You don't write C++ when someone is paying you? Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. The language has come a long way. The standard lib is takes a little bit to get used to, like all the unique pointer and shared pointer constructs as opposed to calling constructors. But it's come a long way. All right, so I've got this FX queue that the particles are getting sent into right now. So what I want to do is first make sure that I want to remove the FXQ usage. Wait, no. I want the mineral particles. That's what I want to get rid of. Okay, so if I remove this, we should stop seeing the particles create, which is good. That's what I expected. And then on my probe, mineral particles prefab, this is no longer used. Yeah, templates are great. Preprocessor directives, you don't have metaprogramming, so that's what you got to do. So I get it. So mineral particles should not be used anymore. All right, so I do state mineral particles for these updates. So if I set it to that, and then the only thing I don't like about the way particles are working is that, so if I get my probe mining, so there's an acceleration and then deceleration towards the target, but the target is moving. So my particles have to be reference aware as far as like the current position of the thing. So the source has to be self because the orbit is being updated, which is annoying. But I think I'm okay with that for now. Okay. Yeah, there's some cool things that you can do with preprocessor directives, and then LVM allows for you to create your own directives on top of that, which is really cool. What was it? Open MP, which is like the parallel computing stuff. The macros and the directives they have in there are freaking insane. They break my brain. They really break my brain. Okay, so because of those changes, I can get rid of, all this logic with respect to mineral particles itself. Easier said than done. Yes, if you're writing the front end, you can basically do whatever. Easier said than done. Cool. So the particles are working as expected from that perspective. Rust. See, I'm old. I can't invest in any more languages. I give up. I know Rust has a vocal community, and I can see the benefits of it. I can't. My brain can't brain anymore. I'm done braining. All right, so, and I think this is what I need help with. All right, so you can create more probes, and then if you go to your construction module and you try to build harvesters, it says not enough memory. Okay, so you go to the engineering module, you upgrade your memory, which will allow you to build more harvesters. And we've got our harvesters going, which is nice. Let me set my mineral count to like 1,000, 2,000. I want smart people to create critical infrastructure in Rust, but I don't want to write Rust. It's bad for game dev because it adds too much overhead, and safety isn't that important in game dev. I agree. I think a lot of it is based on the size of your team, because the more people you have, the more you need static typing to enforce a contract, because it's harder to communicate with more people. So having the static typing and some of those constraints is your safety net effectively for poor communication, or for the scaling needs of a large communication scaling needs of a large team. So I get that aspect of it, but good luck shipping your first game, right? And that's always the tricky part. Okay, upgrade RAM, build harvesters. Okay, and then you're eventually able to afford the comms module. All right, so the comms module is installed. You do a scan. It says minerals depleted. Need to make contact with Earth. So this is getting into more of the narrative aspects of it. So as you can see, we've got two little things moving around. You go to Earth, and you go to your modules, comm module, ping Earth. All right, mission control. This is Sasha. Do you read? Sasha, this is mission control. Glad you got your comms module working. What's the status of Earth? Things are getting bad down here. You need to find us a new home. We're sending you blueprints for a warp drive module. All right, and then when you scan Earth again, it says Earth remaining population 20 million. And then you have access to the warp drive module, which costs 20,000 minerals. So the idea with the warp drive module is eventually, when you get it online, you'll be able to move to your star system and then fire up the warp drive module to go to another star system. And I want to make sure that most of the mechanics of the game are kind of explored in your air quotes familiar star system here before you start moving to another star system. And I don't know what mechanics to add. It's like the implementation's easy if you know what you want to build, but I have no idea what I want to build. So a couple of ideas that I had was let's see, what ideas did I have? Those are almost, I guess it's not a geosynchronous orbit. Sorry, squirrel. The collection rate for your minerals ends up becoming like ridiculous, right? So your warp drive module, you almost have it online in a few minutes. So one thing I wanted to explore was, to have a concept of like supply depots, like from Red Alert, where you have a limit to how many minerals you can have. And it kind of, I'm adding buildings for the sake of adding buildings, so it's harder to get to the money that you need for the warp drive module. So that was one idea that I had. Another thing is that with the comms module in place, you can start going to other planets and using the comms module to scan the planet, or do like a survey of the planet. And so you try to do the survey of the planet, and maybe I introduce like a concept of starting to terraform. So maybe like your next target ends up being terraforming Mars, so that the Earth population has a habitable world to go to. So that's an idea. Tell me if any of these sound somewhat cool. So the interesting thing about trying to make Mars habitable is that you have to get ice on the planet to start the terraforming. And you could start like in the book We Are Legion, We Are Bob. One of the von Neumann probes started hitting a planet to create actual like bodies of water with ice. So the ice would melt on the planet, and then you start getting water on it, which is cool. But like that was like decades long process, and the planet Earth is at 20 million people, right? So if we go back to the comms module scan 20 million. Yeah, and there's some ideas that I can do where create like a fusion heat source thing to heat up a planet and kind of begin the terraforming process. But we're talking decades of work, and so from like a narrative continuity standpoint, Earth is dying. How long does Earth have? So another idea that I had was having farms, or like solar farms that can make food for the planet. And so the ability for at least in the book, the Earth is going into nuclear winters. They're having to go underground, and then they need food, right? So it's like we gotta have food. So there's the facet of extending the viability of the planet by having food sources for the people on Earth. The other thing is that transporting them to a new planet, they need a means to get there, right? You have to get to this new planet. So how do you get to this new planet? So we need a way to transport 20 million people. So that's another thing where you start constructing ships. The challenge is the limit, there's only so many asteroids before they're all harvested, and then you hit a limit. You're like, okay, this is as many minerals that we have. I think it's like it's around 60,000 minerals. So a ship that can carry 1 million people, and how much are those going to cost? And they each need warp drives. So it's like, how do I expand this, and how do I make it interesting enough to where that first expose of a new solar system isn't hours and hours and hours into the game, and I don't know. So, if y'all have ideas, that'll be good. While we're thinking of ideas, or while those ideas are percolating, I need to slow down the mineral collection. It's way too fast, especially when you scale up your probes enough. So the motivation for moving also electrolysis. What is that? Is that shock therapy? I don't know what electrolysis is. It's something. It's something to make water. Right? That's probably what it is. All right. So let's look at what the harvesters do. So each harvester, splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen. Yeah. So chemistry stuff. So harvesters have a concept of mining, and then they're searching and orbiting. So right now, these harvesters they just mine forever. They're scuttling this the asteroid belt way too fast. And so one of the ideas that I had was that the harvesters themselves have a carry limit. All right. So let's set up a carry limit. We'll set the carry limit to 50 minerals. And then when you mine, instead of incrementing minerals directly, all right, so we initialize those variables, carry limit, and so instead of setting minerals directly, I'll set current carry plus equal 1 instead. Okay, so we stop seeing this go up, which is good. And so during the mining phase, what I want to say is, if the mining elapsed time is whatever, I want to check the minerals of the orbiting body, subtract the minerals, add to the carry limit. And so this is the actual, the mine logic, right? And I'll say, and current carry is less than carry limit. Yeah, less than carry limit. Okay, so what we should see happen, let's go to one of our little peeps over here. Yeah, so they're in this weird blinking state right now. I'm going to start. Yeah, I'm going to start this over. Give myself 2,000 minerals. I see the chat. Give me 1 second. Let me set this up real quick. All right. So if I go to modules, construction module, build harvester, exception, nice. 438 calc inside of, where's my, I need to make this a little bit bigger. Harvester line 52. Calc movement. Line 95. Yeah, that makes more sense. Did I forget to initialize current carry? Yep. Current carry equals 0. We'll initialize it there. All right. So the harvester's mining, which is good. And then it'll eventually hit the 50 carat limit. Private mutating. Yeah, so what does the convention underscore underscore method mean? So the double underscore signifies that it's a private function. I'm trying to communicate to myself that you probably shouldn't call this from outside of the class. And then the exclamation point means that it mutates something. So there's a side effect involved with calling this function. And you could say the same thing, well, calc movement needs the bang also. But like renderbox doesn't have the bang because it's stateless, right? There's no side effect that it's creating. So as far as the side effect, I end up putting a bang when I feel like it does a lot of side effects. And it's kind of subjective. What is a lot of side effects? So yeah, that's kind of what that is. What that's primarily for. MRuby does not. MRuby does not actually have private access control. And private in Ruby is just a suggestion. You can still call a private method by using send. It just disallows external calls to the method through the public interface. But yeah, MRuby does not have a concept of, and by extension, DragonRuby does not have a concept of private methods. All right, so they've stopped mining, but now there's this weird blinking thing that they start to do, and so the question is well, why are they doing this blinking thing? Why are they doing this blinking thing? Probably because so the orbit should be there. What happens if I get rid of mine? Okay, so the blinking thing doesn't happen if... Yeah, and then, you see the blinking? What is this blinking? And, we're trying to mine. And they should still be in orbit, so let me see what their current action is. So that's really strange. It looks like their action is being set to mining and then not mining. Let me see. And let's move this to calc. So it's always visible. So calc movement, that's weird that it's, let's set it here. It's really odd that it's swapping between the two. Let me go in and in my probes, what do I want to do here? So let's go to my probe. Calc movement. I'll set probe to self, and then I'll do probe dot harvesters dot clear. Okay, so no harvesters. Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly is happening. Let's see what's happening with respect to the state of the harvester. It's kind of a state machine. It'll get there. There's whatchamacallit, evidences of a state machine eventually coming out. Construction module, build harvester. All right, so they're in the mining action, which is good. And let's go into our harvester itself. And we've got our action function. So it's, yeah, now it's like swapping between mining and orbiting. And so the question is, why is the swap happening? Because it should stay in mining. Check for minerals. Yeah, let's see what check for minerals does. So orbit doesn't set the orbit action, which is good. It's not moving. Yeah, I'm not checking with if the miner is full right now, which I think is fine. I'm just trying to see where exactly orbit is being set. Action is moving. Okay, it should be is the destination. No, I'm clearing out the destination. It's just swapping back and forth. Let me go back to the action and then add the caller. So 122. So check for minerals is where it's failing. Okay, so what happens if I do that? Okay, that's better. So at carry limit, we'll set that. Okay, so when you mine, I look at the last time you've mined, and right now it's just going to go back and forth. It's like, where do I go? All right, so the orbiting body has minerals and they're not at the carry limit, then they do that. Otherwise, they'll go back to orbiting, and we'll say else if they're at the carry limit, then I want the action to be returning. Sure. So this should throw an exception, maybe. Let's make sure this is actually getting called. It's stuck between. All right, let's remove our miner again. Let's add another miner. No, I don't want to mine. I want to add another miner. Build harvester. So we're checking the carry limit now. So it's currently mining. Cool. That's good. That is very good. All right. So yes, it's set to returning. Okay, so if the action is returning, what do I do in search? I think I set the destination ID. I look at the celestial bodies, find the nearest one, pick a random one, and go to will move. So what I want to do is get access to the probe. The probe that the harvester belongs to. I really, really, really dislike having references to other objects. Like owning probe. All right, so when I construct a harvester, I need to pass in a reference to the probe. Let's do it. Let's keep going down this horrible rabbit hole that I refuse to rethink. Okay, so in the probe itself, for the new harvester, I do that. Clear the harvesters. Build harvester. Build harvester. Build harvester. There we go. Where'd the harvester go? See you soon, Levy. Yeah, how's Twitch chat coming along? How many peoples do we have in here? 0. All right, we've got a few people. A couple of lurkers. Say hello. Happy to shoot the shit. All right, so calc movement. So if they're returning, they should be here. Yep, so that's getting invoked. So I have the orbiting body for this specific thing. Cool. So I think in my search, I set it to will move. Okay, so I have a destination. All right, so there's my destination ID. And what I want to do is get the probe's orbiting body. So I have my probe. And I want to move to that destination for returning. But I only want to move there if the harvester's destiny body isn't equal to that, right? So if so if it does not equal, do I have orbiting body on here? Yes, it looks like I do have that function. But I'm looking at the IDs themselves. I should probably call orbiting ID. All right, so when I move to destination, okay. So before I make that commit, or make that save, I'm going to move to this asteroid. All right, so now the probe's orbiting body ID does not equal the harvester's orbiting body ID. So the probe should move to, or the harvester should move to the probe. And it does. Good. And then it moves away. But we'll fix that. All right, so we'll moving, and then they go into orbiting. And then there's check for minerals. And we don't want to... We don't want to check for minerals if we're at the carry limit. Clear the harvesters. I'm getting to the point where I'm repeating this too much, and I probably will create some kind of replay if I do this like 16 more times. Hey, Anton Mapton. Yes, and you're right. I can remove this redundant carry limit. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. What kind of stuff are you working on? All those good things. What brings you here? Okay, so if I move here, the probe follows, which is good. And then it starts orbiting. Beautiful. So check for minerals, and then I want to say return minerals. Okay, so what return minerals will do is, yeah, if current carry is greater than 0, then we want to start returning the minerals to the probe before going to search again. And we'll go back to the harvester. And if we go to mining, or mine, last returned at is equal to, we'll set this to the current tick count. We don't want to do this if, I don't know when we want to do this. So returning, we move to the destination, and check for returning. Check for returning. Check for minerals. Check for returning. Trying to figure out how to handle this transition. Okay, so we want to return if they're not at the carry limit. You will finish your game this year. Awesome. Yeah. Hope you're liking the engine. Hope you are liking the engine. Well, if you're gonna ship a game with it, that's like thumbs up. Woo. Have you posted in Show and Tell, or do you have a link to a playable version of your game? More than happy to play and get feedback if you'd like. Let's go back to our mine function. Right, so if we say if do I want to call it will return? Returning? Let's call it will return. So if they're at the carry limit and the orbiting I don't know. My brain is like exploding right now. All right, so will return will cause the probe to move to the destination. Cool. When you reach the destination, you begin orbiting. You begin orbiting, and so the last action should have been will return. So now we're returning, and if we're in the returning phase, we begin our orbit and then return minerals. And what return minerals will do is we'll say last, we're going to set the last returned out to be the kernel tick count, and then if current carry is greater than 0, yeah, we kind of want to copy this over. We want to subtract from the current carry, set the last returned out, increase the minerals, and queue the particle. and queue the particle. But instead of the particle's destination being actually will be the source. Source should have been called destination, not. I need to rename that. There will be the probe, and this would be that. Otherwise, the action will be orbiting. And then if the action is orbiting, then it'll check for minerals and then go to search. This is totally going to work. All right, clear the harvesters. And if this doesn't work, I need to create a better feedback loop. I'm going to move to another location. So it's set to mining. Moving. Okay, so that won't work because the last action was not returning. And I probably want to call it will return minerals and then returning minerals instead of returning. If at carry limit, we'll set the action to returning. All right, state does not exist on the harvester. How did mine used to work then? At state. Cool. So then after the minerals are returned, it went back to mining. That's fantastic. So let's move to the Earth. That's not the Earth, that's Venus. So what should happen moving, returning minerals, and then after the minerals are returned, it should go back to orbiting, and then go to searching, and then search for another location. All right, so it should be searching, yep, and then it goes back and continues mining. So the question is, does this still work? Will this still work if probe.orbiting body yeah, so now it's stuck again because it went to will return. So I'll do else Otherwise, it starts returning the minerals. So we should see it. So it's returning the minerals right now. Starts pulling minerals. I got to fix that glitch. I think the glitch is happening within orbit. So it's returning. Goes to mine. I need to see the transition. You don't use the state machine, I guess. So a facet of a state machine is kind of coming out. I don't have a clear path to using a state machine yet. And the reason, you can kind of think of this as the state machine. Okay, if they're orbiting, then you do your orbit, you check for minerals, and then in check for minerals, it goes. The next state is either mining or searching based on this specific criteria. Right. So my current state is whatever the current action is. And then calc actions, these are the definitions for what happens in the current state and then what is the transition to the next state. So that's the state machine, right? So yes, I am using a state machine. It's just the state transitions in conjunction with the easing and stuff is where things are getting jacked up. So what's happening is, okay, it's returning the minerals. And then after it's done returning the minerals, it goes back to mining. But that transition to mining is where like the orbit is easing is getting screwed up. So let me set my max carry to carry limit. Let me set my carry limit to 5. So it goes to returning. It mines, and then it returns. Return, mining. So the transition to returning, the orbit easing is getting Oh, does this need to be an or? And no, it has to be an and, right? So if this was just set to 1, we won't see the issue. So if the previous action isn't mining and isn't returning, that means the orbit is being retained, but it's doing this like weird shift. So what is the previous action? Oh, I guess I need to look at current action also, huh? What are my actions? So mining and orbiting will return returning. Orbiting and mining. Oh, I need to rename that. Previous action will return, so maybe that will fix it. And so here's the challenge with the state machine is like, yes, there's a state machine, but it's a context aware state machine. Okay, so mining, returning, now that weird blip. No, that blip is still there. Ah! How about I just look at my goddamn code? So the next action will be will return. And then inside of will return, the action becomes returning. So that ends up being the current action. Oh, I guess the orbit also needs to... I need to continue calling orbit here, maybe? I'm no longer there. All right, mine. Mining. Why? Why is it doing this? Okay, wait. Is it working? So when is this getting... Yeah, it's getting set. Some formalization of something is going to come out of this. I just don't have enough state transitions. This is the first subsequently complex state transition I've had. So I don't know what context I need for each state transition. So previous action was orbiting. Is it always orbiting? It is orbiting. But the problem is, I think if I put orbiting in here, I think putting orbiting in here is going to jack that up. Do I care? Do I care about the percentage? Yeah, so the percentage is based off of... So what happens if I do this? So using action at as the means to determine when the orbit should expand to its maximum isn't correct. So like I can keep track of when they reach the specific destination. And then use that to determine the orbit. The double underscore denotes to myself that it's a private function. But yeah, internal usage. I didn't know JavaScript did the same thing. Python does it. C uses static, so you can make an internal to a file. But yeah, I think Ruby uses it internally also. Like Ruby has, you can redefine the send function, but basic object has underscore underscore send underscore underscore. So maybe not private, but reserved might be a better word. Okay, so what if, so destination at, redefinition is extremely cursed? I guess. Maybe. With great power comes great responsibility. Knives are sharp, yet chefs use very sharp knives. And in the hands of a novice, a knife will cut you to ribbons. Okay, so this works out well. Right, so if I move to a different definition, redefining send is fine. Underscore underscore send is a big no-no. Well, you can try it, but then everything will break. Yes. Okay. So we'll set our max carry back to 50. So let's do that. I keep calling it max carry instead of carry limit. So that's something I want to refactor. We'll get into a refactor phase next. So we'll set the carry limit back to set the carry limit back to 50. All right. So it's mining. And so this is the next thing I want to fix. And I think it'll be, I don't think it'll be a difficult fix. So now it's returning. And while the returning is occurring, I'll move. So now you see that the minerals are getting returned from like a very far area. So what I want to do is I want to check if orbiting does not equal the probe's orbiting location, then I want to set the action to orbiting. So they'll go into orbit, and then it's kind of like you didn't wait for the probe to return all its minerals, so you moved, and now it's going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to go back to what I was doing before. All right, so I'm going to move. Yep, and then those particles made it, and then it just goes back to mining. It starts to return, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna just move again. All right, that's working well. So let's see how this affects the gameplay. So I'm going to move. Start mining minerals. Modules, construction, build harvester. Let's build a bunch of harvesters. Let's get rid of our watch statement. So now if I move here, the minerals get returned. And maybe the return should be faster. Let's speed that up to twice as fast. Because it's not like you're mining an asteroid. You're just reporting back. Yep. So there's your returning. And so this opens up the opportunity to have like mineral capacity as an upgrade. That's a pretty neat effect. Cool. Fiesta, yes, party time. Glad you enjoyed the stream. Hopefully, like how I reasoned through these problems was useful. All right, so we'll do a commit and then we'll do some refactoring. Harvesters need to go back to probe to return minerals. Okay, so some things that I wanted to change. I want this to be max carry. Yeah, I want that to be max carry instead of current or carry limit. At max carry. I think that was a good change. Will return needs to be will return minerals. And then returning minerals needs to be, or returning needs to be returning minerals. That's good. Probe, I want to make the same changes I made with respect to the orbit. And there's some duplication here with the. So here's another issue with this idea of a state machine. There are actions within the state machine that could potentially be shared. So is it do I introduce inheritance to my state machine? Where there's like base states in this state machine and then derive states from the base state machine? It's just, it becomes, I don't know the answer. I don't know what would be the correct answer. Set the destination to 0. And then orbit ends up being just based on the destination. Yep, so now if I move while they're returning stuff, those things get returned, but one minor tweak would be return minerals. Okay, what the hell happened to these over here? What happened there? Are they stuck in a returning phase? Okay. But their action should be set to orbiting. So their action gets set to orbiting. And they shouldn't be at max carry anymore. Yep, they're on Mars. They're only able to mine asteroids. So what should happen is, okay, the action's orbiting. So for orbiting, it should do its orbit, right? So these things should be orbiting. Okay, they're orbiting. Cool. And orbit just is the seizing function. And then they check for minerals. And they shouldn't be at max capacity. They aren't checking minerals. Returning. So return minerals. Yeah, current. At max carry. Is current carry greater than... Oh, no, yeah. They're trying to return minerals. Are they at the max carry? Their current carry is what? Okay, I think this is where the issue is then. Maybe? Let's render a label with their current action. Yeah, the issue is that the probe has collected minerals up to its capacity, and it went back to air quotes home base to return the minerals, but the home base, this air quotes home base, moved to a different location, right? So if I move here, they start returning again, but now this one's stuck, and it's like, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Why are you doing this to me? And then after they're done returning, which is good, it's like, okay, I'm all done. Now if I move back to the interruption that I made here, he picks back up. But what I want to do is that, okay, if the home base is not there, then go back to what you were originally doing. And what I want to do is get the current action that the probe is attempting. Right, so they're all returning minerals. And then if I move here, yep, they're moving, mining. God, that's freaking cool. I love that how that just works. Moving. Returning minerals will move. All right, so I just need to wait for a probe to try to come to me first. Okay, good. So they're all at orbiting, which is good. So they need to check for minerals. And the question is are they at max carry? They were at max carry. Okay, so if you're at max carry, and what you're orbiting does not match where the probe is, I want to do what? What do I want to do? I want to return. Okay, so maybe that'll fix the issue. Are they supposed to check if they need to move to the new home base? Yes, or they dropped off what they could and they go harvest another asteroid. So the idea is like, okay, you took a penalty for moving while the minerals were attempting to be placed. So they're all returning minerals, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to just move somewhere else. So they're mining. And then they go back to searching. So it's kind of a penalty, but that fixed it. I kind of like that what they're currently doing is printed. I really like that. Yeah, because you can kind of see like what each probe is trying to do. There's one other bug that I need to fix, which is I think I want to keep that. So they're mining. They're returning minerals, and then if I move somewhere else, I like it. I like the information being there. Goose in the Machine, have you been on the stream before? Maybe, possibly. Sorry that my memory escapes me. So returning minerals. Well, I started working on another game. The Metrovania probe stuff, just the mechanics weren't enjoyable, but I liked the narrative and the storyline, so I wanted to keep that. And so the same narrative and storyline will be in here, but hopefully this will end up being a more interesting mechanic. To build that narrative around. Yeah, okay, I was wondering, I thought this might have been another part of the game, similar to the Blaster Master, where you have smaller levels within the overall game. It's an idea that I was exploring of like, yeah, you may be able to go into a planet and revisit. That's just a lot of that's a lot of content to create. But yeah, the movement mechanics they just weren't satisfying. They just weren't there. I was getting bored with the mechanic after trying to play it. There's a lot of complexity there with respect to, it just wasn't satisfying. Okay, so with the concept of this, of you having to have minerals returned to you. Yeah, and let me show you kind of what the game looks like now. I need to fix that. Sorry, I want to fix one more thing. Calc movement and destination at equals kernel dot tick count. All right, so you start up the game and you say, okay, I'm going to try to mine. All right, celestial body does not have minerals. Move to an asteroid belt. You have modules, 150 minerals to build that. Comms modules, 500. You go to construction. Harvester costs 50. So you go to move. You start mining. Okay. I construct a harvester. Yep, and this is nice because it kind of forced you to continue mining. That flip-flop I need to fix. It's already helpful having that information on the screen. Modules, construction, build more harvesters. Let me fix that real quick. So return minerals. Yep, okay, so that hopefully that will fix that specific issue. It did not, which is fine. It's fine. Worst that can happen is that, yeah, a couple of minerals get returned there. Okay. And now I try to build more harvesters, and now it says not enough RAM. Okay, so now I got to build RAM at the engineering module. Engineering module, upgrade RAM. RAM costs 100 minerals. So I have to wait for the minerals to come into play. Okay, RAM upgraded. Go to the construction module, build harvester. I need 50 minerals. I go to move. start mining. Modules, construction, build more harvesters. Okay. Comms module costs 500. I need to upgrade the RAM. RAM costs 300. So this slows it down quite a bit. And I don't know if it's too slow now. Might be fine. It forces you to mine yourself, which is good. So that asteroid is depleted. I'll move to another asteroid. So I want to save up for the communication module, and that's what I'm doing now. Cool. So now I can go to modules. Comms module, it's installed. I scan. Minerals left 361, need to make contact with Earth. Okay, so I'm going to move. And I go to modules, comms, ping Earth. Mission control, this is Sasha, do you read? Sasha, this is mission control. Glad your comms are working. What's the status on Earth? Things are getting bad down here. You need to find us a new home. We're sending you blueprints for a warp drive. And it says Earth remaining population 20 million. So now the warp drive is 20,000 minerals. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And the whole, this whole reason that I was doing all this logic with respect to like returning minerals and bringing them back and stuff was to slow down, to slow down the path to 20K. No, this is going to be, hey Pedro, how's it going? Yeah, this is going to be a commercial. This is the idea, like the little probe, the game that I was building before. It just wasn't fun. So this is the new idea. With the number of probes, I kind of want the orbit distance to be further out. So maybe 64. Maybe 128. But yeah, hopefully I can get it on, get something interesting out soon. At some point, right? Let's upgrade my RAM. Construction module, build harvesters. It is satisfying to see like all the things. Orbit speed. Yeah, I'm glad you like the menus. They're still kind of annoying to navigate though. It's a lot of steps, right? So like, okay, I want to move. All right, now I can go to the move. Move to the new location. Well, that makes me dizzy. That makes me really dizzy. Holy crap. Orbit speed's too fast, maybe? My brain hurts. I was a little too dizzy. It's kind of cool, though. So, yeah, so that slows down the retrieval of minerals. But now the question is, where do I take the game from here? So you need 20,000 to the warp drive module, but I don't want you spending the entire freaking game just building harvesters and mining minerals or whatever. So that's where I'm stuck right now. And because I was stuck, I was like, let me do some behavioral stuff, which I've spent my time doing now. All the miners. Yeah, so the question is time is passing while this is happening, right? And so at some point shit's going to go down, or things are happening on Earth, right? It's degrading, and they don't have enough time for me to save up 20,000 minerals to create a warp drive, create all the things to move them to a new planet, et cetera, right? They'll die by then. So during this process, I need to figure out different gates where a distress message comes from Earth saying that, okay, so many years has passed, we're running out of food, we need you to build this other thing. And so that diverts you from creating the warp drive, because you need to build something else to keep Earth alive. And the game over state becomes tricky too, because it takes a while to even get to this point, right? So if Earth's population dies, then it's like game over, and like, what, you're telling me I got to start from the very beginning again? So those are different problems that I need to think through. But I think this is a good stopping point. I'm going to get something to eat, and then I'll probably jump back on. It's still early, so I think jumping back on is not a terrible idea. Having a concept of like supply depots also limits the amount of minerals that you can create. So it's like, okay, well, now I need to create what's it called, mineral silos to store all these minerals. And then it will be cool because you'll see the silos rotating around the probe also. And so then you hit your silo limit, and then it's, it continues to expand. More minerals, more problems, basically. So that delays the need to get to the warp drive, but there's got to be some urgency. There has to be some balancing act between, okay, I need to get this warp drive, find another planet, but keep Earth's population alive. All right, something to think about. I'm going to go get something to eat, and then I'll jump back onto the stream. Faster photon cannon rush, yes. You must construct additional pylons. That was one of the ideas that I have, was when it comes to modules and stuff. If you go to build a harvester, the first thing it will say will be this, right? Not enough RAM, upgrade at the engineering module. And if you keep pressing it, eventually it'll say, you must construct additional pylons. And then get increasingly passive aggressive and be like, look, you can't do this. Step 1, can you not read? Step 1, go to engineering modules. Step 2, upgrade RAM. So upgrade my RAM. Build harvesters. It just gets ridiculous, right? Like the number of harvesters you end up building gets really high. And then your mineral collection rate is so fast that getting to 20,000 minerals is cake. Maybe that's okay. Maybe you hit the warp drive and you go to another solar system, you find a habitable planet, you come back to Earth, let them know, and then they give you plans to create ships. That might not be a bad idea, actually. That is very satisfying, though. And if I go to move, you can see where everyone's mining. I think having an icon instead of words is probably going to be a better solution long term. But it's cool seeing that. Anyways, yeah, maybe the exploration of the solar system happens immediately. All right, y'all have a good one. I'll upload this to YouTube for review, and then I'll ping again when I stream again. Take care.